college, whether it is organizations, whether it is country. So let us try to understand what it is, what the stress is. Now if we talk stress properly, the word comes from the physics or the physics science, like other words of gravity, mass, etc., etc. And the stress is, so is in the all living things. When I talk all living things means it covers human, animal and plants. Because plants are also living. If you don't give water to the plants in time, they feel stress and they will die one day. So that's the... Now what exactly stress is? Stress is, if you talk, next slide. Oh, sorry. If suppose what the pressure is with you, if the pressure becomes more than the resources, you feel stress. You have a pressure to go to college in time, but you don't have the vehicle is not reached in the time. So there is a pressure. So this is a stress in a one way. Mr. Agarwal talked about EU stress. What is EU stress? I think he talked about. Can give somebody example of EU stress. Yesterday Dhoni had the Kohli had a stress. What type of stress he had? He had a stress to win. And that is good. That is the EU stress. EU is the Greek word that is for the good. I think there are all girls mostly, some ladies are also there. Now if you slap a child of 2 years or 1 year old, even you put a slap there on his face, it's a good stress. It doesn't give you distress. Both feel happy on that. So that's a good stress. But when we are talking about the distress. That means which takes our health, wealth and other things. What type of major stresses are there? There is an organizational stress. Organization means you have a responsibility, you have an authority, you have a no role in the decision making, that also creates a stress. So these type of stresses in the organizations. Then extra organizational stress. Now what are these extra organizational? There is a global change. There is no organizational role. There is not your role, but there is a role of somebody else. So that creates a extraordinary. Then there is a group. Within the group, you have a football team. There is a problem among the members of the team. That's a stress. You have in an organization, you have a difference of opinion among the group members. Then there is a stress. And then there is a individual stress. Individual stress can be because of your personality, your rigidness, your thinking, your behavior, all these factors will come into your individual stresses. Now these are the major stresses, but then there are some stresses which are very temporary or for a moment. Like you have a time stress, as Mr. Agarwal was talking that I have to, or I was making a point that I have to run for the bus. There is no time, breakfast is late, so there is a stress. मेरे को 2 मिनट में पहुंचना है. Another is anticipatory. Now you were working for this Bicon for last 15 days or so. So everybody had a stress whether the program will go on okay or not. So that's an anticipation. Everything is going well, but still you have some stress on your face. Then situational. Situational is what Mr. Agarwal made a point of the lady waiting for a son to come from school. That's a situation. Situation has arisen and you feel stress. And then there is an encounter stress. Encounter means now particularly on the call centers or on receptions. There are 5 guests. You have to answer to 5. Eachbody is asking. Or when you go to submit a bill, everybody wants that my bill should be deposited first. So the person feels stress from that point. These are type of stresses we have. Now then again there is a identifying source of stress. Source of stress में क्या है? This involves your habit, your attitude, and sometimes what you do, you get excuse. मैंने नहीं किया, ये उसने किया. That is also a stress. To put blame on some others to get yourself excused. That's also a problem. Now, temporary, then integral part of work or home life. First, temporary. Temporary means you are working with 5-6 things and you have pressure from all the angles. So therefore, there is a temporary. That which thing I should do first or last. Then integral part of the work or home life. घर में करना है, बाहर करना है. Always somebody is crazy about his personality. मैंने करना है, मुझे करना है. Like that. That becomes your part of your integral, your own habits. And then blame others or outside events. That is the point which I made. So, what are the normal things we talk? We should not have smoking, pills नहीं लेना है, drugs नहीं लेना है, सोना पूरा है, सोना नहीं है, alcoholism में involve होना है. These are the common things which further increases your stress. Now, beside this, what are the major triggers? Major triggers is, one is environment. Now, environment means economic uncertainties. Now, what you call uncertainties? आपका business module change हो गया, business cycle change हो गया, इकोनॉमिक सिचुएशन कंट्री की चेंज हो गई. अभी जैसे ग्रोथ बोल रहे हैं कम हो रही है, तो बिजनेस नहीं चल रहा है. तो देन एंड दिस इज बिकॉज ऑफ द एनवायरनमेंट ऑफ द कंट्री. देन देर इज ए पॉलिटिकल. पॉलिटिकल मीन्स पॉलिसीज चेंज हो गई, गवर्नमेंट बदल गई, धरना हो गया, हड़ताल हो गई. ऑल दीज थिंग्स कम्स अंडर द पॉलिटिकल सेक्टर. एंड देन देर इज ए टेक्नोलॉजिकल चेंज. Now, 10 years back, you were using landlines. Today, nobody uses landlines. So, there is a change. So, this also makes you stress that whether I can go for this or not. Then there are organizational. These were environmental. Now, there are organizational stresses. task demands, what you are supposed to, or what your job demands from you. So that way, which includes your working conditions भी हो सकती है, आपके working condition ठीक नहीं है, then आपका जहाँ आप काम कर रहे हो वो साफ नहीं है, that is also stress, कि सफाई नहीं है, मैं सुबह चपरासी ने मेरा टेबल साफ नहीं किया, मैं कैसे काम करूं, that is also stress. Then interpersonal demands, उसमें क्या है, what is there, what others expect from you. Other people also expect from you what type of relationship you have. Suppose you have a cordial relation with your boss or subordinate, then it is okay. But if you don't have a cordial relation with boss or subordinate, that also creates a problem because you are not in a position to carry out the work. Organizational structure, this includes hierarchy, then आपके rules and regulation of the company कि छुट्टी नहीं मिलेगी. These are all things. आपके डिसीजन मेकिंग में भी प्रॉब्लम हो सकती है कि एक्स को तो छुट्टी दे दी, मुझे नहीं दी. See, these are all, these create stresses. These are the very small points, but then these create stress among the people. And then physical setting. That means if there is a noise, environment is नहीं है, privacy नहीं है मुझे काम करने की. These are the things which comes under the physical setting. Then individual factors. Now family problems, I think everybody knows what type of family problems. But मेरे कोई credit आना चाहिए. Whereas type B, he will coordinate with others, grow with a calm mind and carry out the work. Then gender. This is all we face every day. I think even in the organizations there is a differentiation between these. Even the tennis tournament or badminton tournament, prize money given to the gents is more than the ladies. These type of differentiation also create some tension. Urgency. Urgency is again time. We require time. Competitiveness. That's a very important. मैंने कोई काम किया और मेरे कलीग ने कोई काम किया. There is a competition among that. And problem is when particularly management take a decision of him, I get stress. मेरा काम अच्छा था उससे फिर भी नहीं लिया. This become a competitive issue. And then there are sometimes your own belief, your own values. आप सोचते हो कि ऐसा ही होना चाहिए, वैसा नहीं हो सकता. या आप बिलीव करते हो कि मैं तो बिल्कुल इस ईमानदारी से काम करूंगा, लेकिन आपका बॉस शायद थोड़ा लीकेज करता है या सबऑर्डिनेट लीकेज करता है, तो वो आप उसको अलाउ नहीं करते हैं. दैट ऑल्सो क्रिएट्स स्ट्रेस इन यू. नाउ व्हाट आर द इफेक्ट्स? Now, there are two types or three types of effects. One is physiological. That means you have a headache, you have anger, and at times you may have a stroke also or heart attack also. Psychological, you go into depression, anxiety, job dissatisfaction, moods go on changing, your commitment to job also reduces. These are the psychological effects. And then behavior. Behavior means your job performance will reduce. If you are stressed, you will not do your work 100%. आप छुट्टी मारेंगे. At times you will try to change the job. कि मैं यहाँ पे काम अच्छा नहीं कर रहा हूँ, दूसरी जगह चला जाता हूँ. That is attrition. So how we can prevent? Once having understood these, how can we prevent? Now, prevention can be at 3 levels. Primary level means eliminate stressors at what Mr. Agarwal also, detach yourself from the problem. Once you detach yourself from the problem, that is naturally you are reducing your, that is a primary. Secondary, change the company's or your own attitude. या तो कंपनी में है तो कंपनी के रूल्स रेगुलेशन में चेंज करिए या कुछ उसमें चेंज करिए या अपने आप को चेंज करने की कोशिश करिए. एंड थर्ड इज टर्सरी, दैट मीन्स क्रिएट एन एटमॉस्फियर टू रिमूव दिस हीलिंग इफेक्ट्स जो भी आप ला सकते हैं कि उसको कोई ट्रीटमेंट दिया जा सकता है कि नहीं. दैट्स द टर्सरी सेक्टर. Further, when we go into the organization, what are the further points for research? Selection and placement. To avoid stress, you should identify a person suiting to the job. So your selection and placement, select कर लिया, select किया उसको A काम के लिए, लगाया उसको B काम के लिए. That creates a press. So, where you want to select, you put the person to that very job, so that he can perform and he doesn't create. और अगर आप उसको कर रहे हैं तो उसका जॉब को रीडिज़ाइन करिए. रीडिज़ाइन मीन्स उसके अनुसार करने की कोशिश करिए कि उसकी जो अनसर्टेनिटी है या वो क्लियर नहीं है कि मुझे क्या टास्क करना है, उसको अगर वो क्लियर नहीं है तो उसको क्लियर करने की कोशिश करिए. देन गोल सेटिंग. गोल सेटिंग मीन्स व्हेन यू कम इन द मॉर्निंग, आई विल गिव यू अ वेरी स्मॉल एग्जांपल ऑफ RBI, which you may not be in the olden times. Now it is not there, but in the earlier times, even the postgraduate boys who are recruited as a clerk, they are supposed to be put into the note counting. And note counting means 1 to 100. One bundle carries 100 pieces. So he has to count 1 to 100. Now a postgraduate student for next 5 or 7 years is doing 1 to 100. Is it? So he naturally over a period of time he will create stress that what is this job? So put them the proper role, that what he requires to be done, what for he is been selected. Then your organization communication should be very clear. What you communicate and what he perceives, that has to be very important. Suppose I say you go to home, he thinks that he is asking me to go to school. So then this becomes stress, and then there will be subsequent stress points on that. So whatever communication you want to make with the person in an organization, it should be well clear and what understood. I remember one of the quotes of Rajneesh, very important, that what he says is that what I say, I know what I am saying, but what you have received, that is your responsibility, for which I am not responsible. So what you want to convey, it should be properly received. Then there should be social support. Social support means you should have a support of your colleagues, your family, your society, unless and until you have the support of them, or including the support of your supervisor and subordinates. Then conduct wellness programs. Wellness program means you conduct some outing for the staff, create some celebration in the organization, maybe half-yearly, quarterly, or some any other occasions. There is a birthday, you celebrate of the birthday of the particular person. that you create. Then at individual level, how you manage? Time management. Now you have committed too many things. So either commit less, what you can chew, eat what you can chew. Do whatever the sequencing properly, if there is a more work, what is more important, you do first thing what most important, and then do other things. Then lifestyle, what you eat, what you do, what time you sleep. Then as I said that avoid caffeine, alcohol, etc., etc. Then relaxation technique, do physical exercise, yoga, pranayam. Social support again, you go to the family functions, visit your family friends or social friends, go for outing. These are the things. And then emotional intelligence. Now this is very important. Emotional means how can you control yourself, your emotions. And if your colleagues or your subordinates or superiors are also having emotional, you know their nature over a period of time, so how to tackle them, that also you have to come along with that. Now, most important thing is, if you follow these 4 principles, 4 A's, I think most of the stress you can relieve. That is, you avoid, learn to say no. Normally in an organization, if boss is asking something, subordinate will never say no. And that will create a lot of stress. I give a very good example of one American president. One American president, of course I don't know the name, but this is a very common anecdote in the parlors of the management theories, that a person was elected as a president of USA. Naturally, the reporters went to his father and asked him that your son has become president. How do you feel? He said, as a father I feel proud, but as a citizen I feel deprived because my son doesn't know how to say no. So you should know where you don't agree, you should express your feelings. Whether it is accepted or not accepted in the organization or in the family. In the family also, you put your views, that is accepted by your seniors or no, or by son, or also sometimes you say something and your son doesn't feel happy. You have to convince him. But you have to say no, because he may have some extraordinary demands which are not legitimate. Then don't beat people who create stress on you. Control your environment. आप अपने environment को ठीक कर लीजिए. And short to do list. आप अपनी list बनाइए, क्या क्या करना है, क्या नहीं करना है. Alter. Now certain things you can alter. That's what I said. Express feeling instead of suppressing. अपने आप को सप्रेस मत करिए, अपने आप को एक्सप्रोज करिए. कंप्रोमाइज करने की क्वालिटी होनी चाहिए. इज नॉट दैट के आई शुड बी रिजिड. एंड क्रिएट ए बैलेंस शेड्यूल. वंस यू क्रिएट डू, थिंग्स कैन बी इम्प्रूव. Adopt. You can reframe the problem. You can look at big picture. That means time perspective के अगले 2 साल में क्या होने वाला है, उस हिसाब से अपने आप को पर्सपेक्टिव को चेंज कर दीजिए. ज़रूरी नहीं कि आज ही कुछ करना है. ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में क्या है, अगर कोई चीज़ बाज़ार में आई है या बाज़ार में लानी है तो आज ही लानी है. अगर आपका प्रोडक्ट ठीक नहीं है और तो उसको 6 महीने के लिए पोस्टपोन करिए, कंडूसिव एटमॉस्फेयर नहीं है तो 6 महीने के लिए पोस्टपोन करिए। एडजस्ट स्टैंडर्ड्स, आपके स्टैंडर्ड्स जो सेट कर रहे हैं दे शुड बी रीजनेबल। यू शुड नॉट थिंक दैट आई शुड क्लाइंब वेरी हाई। एंड मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट इज वी नेवर प्रेज अवर सेल्फ। हमने कुछ किया है, वी डोंट रिकॉग्नाइज अवर सेल्फ। ट्राई टू रिकॉग्नाइज मैंने कुछ किया है तो वर्थ है। वंस यू फील दैट योर स्ट्रेस लेवल विल गो डाउन। एंड देन एक्सेप्ट। एक्सेप्ट मीन्स डोंट कंट्रोल द अनकंट्रोलेबल। जो आपके हाथ में नहीं है उसको आप कंट्रोल करने की कोशिश मत करिए। यू कांट डू एनीथिंग। लुक फॉर अपसाइड। आप देखिए अपॉर्चुनिटीज क्या हैं हमारे पास में। लुक फॉर द अपॉर्चुनिटीज एंड देन हाउ मच यू कैन मूव इन दैट साइड एंड लर्न टू फॉरगिव। इट्स अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। हम एक दूसरे को माफ करना नहीं जानते हैं। इट्स अ वेरी बिग प्रिंसिपल ऑफ जैनिज्म, फॉरगिव एंड फॉरगेट। इफ यू डू दैट, आई थिंक half of your problems are solved. Share your feelings and feel apologize. Now, these were the general in stress, about stress and stress management I talked. I just talk about 2-3 slides on stress, this artificial intelligence, which is a topic of the day. Now, let us be very clear what is the artificial intelligence. Normally defined as the behavior performed by the machines, and where you use technology to function intelligently for planning, tabulation, relation between objects, situation events, verification, validity, security. All these functions can be done by the effect of AI. Now, what is the effect of this also? This also creates stress. In what way? Now, with these machines, you are supposed to do little more work than what you can do in a normal way. So, it affects money, health and happiness. Then there are certain myths about this. The biggest is to supersede human intelligence or not. Can AI supersede the human intelligence? Only in business organizations or even in the family. Particularly the two aspects, your experience and the history of the organization, history of the house, ethics of the organization, they cannot be captured by AI. Then there are controversy whether the investment in AI is justified or not. Whether the investment we make in the AI is how much it is justified. And then risk of superhuman. We have a risk to run that one day this AI will become superhuman. We are already talking that supercomputers and other things. We have removed all gadgets from the house. That means your printer has gone, desktop has gone, laptop has gone, it has come on your mobile. So, in a day, whether this can overtake us also. But then there are interesting controversies also there. And what are those? It's a very, very important thing. Now, with AI, what sort of future you want? Let us be very clear on that. Then second, already we are in the atomic age. So should we develop atom autonomous weapons. And if they, by control, if they fail and they do something wrong, what will happen? There is a also point on job automation. आपके हाथ से जॉब चला जाएगा तो आपके लिए जॉबलेस सोसाइटी नहीं बन जाएगी. आप क्या करेंगे अगर जॉब पूरा काम एआई कर लेगा तो whether what you will do. These are few controversies with the AI. But then how to manage AI? So then you have to define your innovation strategy very clearly. Your purpose of doing these things should be very clear. Whether we are doing duplication or waste of time, waste of resources, there is a conflict of interest, political issues, all these come into very defined while time defining. Then identification and selection of innovation. What could be the best method to take identification? Venture capital, because when you go into new venture, either they are already tested and time and tested. If it is so, then what? You will be lagging behind. So then you will not like to adopt it. So go for the venture capital in a group and then select which are the activities you can do. Then there is a entrepreneurship journey, whether you have a capacity to do that job, whether you have funding, all these factors have to be taken care of. Then seizing partners opportunity. अगर आपके पार्टनर्स है या कोई आपके पार्टनर बन के आप उसको अपॉर्चुनिटी को इनोवेशन करना चाहते हैं, you take that value. And then once you do that, then upgrade your production or the services like that. What you have to do this AI, practices to follow. Leave administrative work to the AI, where you don't require human intelligence or whether you don't require human decision making power, experience of the organization, ethics. Leave those type of work to the AI. And then you work on the judgmental work. What are work required to be done by you? Treat intelligent machine as colleagues. Don't treat that they are something over you, a burden. If they are competitor, then you will feel frustrated. But if you feel colleagues, they are helping you as a colleague, which doesn't create otherwise tension, you adopt that. Then work like a designer. It's very important. It will create less tension or stress with you as well as to your colleagues. You have a creativity, whereas you have to also explore the creativity with your colleagues who are working with you. That is a designer job. And develop social skills and networking means again you have to partners yourself, social skills, go for the collaboration, etc. That will help you. What you have to do, if you have to do AI, first of all, adopt things which are at an early stage. If you are laggard, then you will not be successful in that. So try to adopt at early exposure. At the same time, you adopt the new performance indicators. Your old performance indicators will not work with AI. So you have to set your new performance indicators in such a way that it cope up with your requirement as well as to the develop training and recruitment strategies. So with the AI, you require training of the already existing staff. Create collaboration with your colleagues and partners or the suppliers or the customers, so that you get some ideas, then you can adopt them. I think what should be the approach for business success? I think Mr. Agarwal talked about innovation. So you have to innovate. What should be approach to innovation? You have to study market, identify opportunities, do research, and then go into the services or products to be innovate with your organization. Kindly, Mr. Agarwal made one point very clear, I think. Innovation, he gave 3 I's. But then there is one I before that. That is invention. Sometimes we confuse with invention and innovations. Invention is what he said. Thomas Alva Edison, or what he developed and what for he got Nobel Prize. Planning, you have to properly plan it, sequence it. Competition. And then you have to encourage innovations with the others. Whether it is supplier or whether it is your purchaser, customer, your colleagues. You put suggestion box. You invite suggestion from your staff. And then funding innovations. Who will fund these innovations or this AI approach? Whether your own sources or whether you may get from banks or you get from the market. But one problem with the market borrowing. Suppose you borrow from the market, your control over the organization will reduce. So if you are ready for that, you have to go. Of course, government programs and subsidies and taxes are other areas when you have to consider this. I think before I close, I will just give you 3 or 4 recent comments of Bill Gates or somebody else on this stress that will help you. Stress reduces standard of work and hindrance for success. So everybody should avoid stress. Now Bill Gates, I think everybody knows. He says, first do which is most important. Start with basics. Genius do like this. If stress increases, then focus on simple and start thinking simple. Jeff Bezos, Amazon, he says, stress starts when you do not take steps. On problems you have control. You don't take steps on the problems which you have a control. So start solution at an early stage. Once you start taking steps, stress will reduce. Jack Dorsey, founder Twitter. Stress occurs on account of unexpected incidents. Deal with them in a normal situation will reduce stress. If work is systematically done, there will be proper focus and you will understand situation better. Susan Wojcicki, CEO, YouTube. Taking leave after hard work, you get an opportunity to introspect and get new important views. So going on leave is very important. Continuous work tires, break brings balance. And the latest one is from Arvind Pangaria, which was the CEO of our Niti Aayog, because there was a controversy that jobs will reduce with AI. His recent writing is indicated that job will increase with AI. And the last, I just give you one example. Recently, your resume selection. Selection for means people apply for the job. You put resume. They are done through AI. There is a firm in Bangalore. They have started doing this type of job. And they said that earlier we were able to do 10 resume shortlisted. Now with AI we are able to do 50. I think with this I close my talk. Thank you very much for inviting me.